Hi, this is a elf for you. This is my first video and I'm going to be reading a fanfic by Water in a Bottle. The fanfic is an attempt to fly under the radar. Summary. What if Izuku's obvious intelligence and imposter syndrome hadn't gone unnoticed? Or I took the mistake made in the trigonometry question ectoplasm had the class solve in episode 80 and decided to make a whole ass fanfic out of it. Chapter 1 Attest. Flying under the radar had never been one of Izuku's specialities. Ever since that day at the doctor's office, the universe seemed hell-bent to thrust him in the spotlight whether he liked it or not. First it was Bakugo turning his back on him. Was it ever turned towards him? For being Quirkles, bringing his classmates to his side. Then it was the teacher turning a blind eye to the mistreat while inflicting their own onto him. After that came the slight villain attack, which fortunately brought him under the tutelage of Ame. He thought that finally getting Quirk would shut off the perpetual spotlight being shined on him, but if anything, it only seemed to make things worse. He'd made his arm on live television during the sports festival. How else was he supposed to use one for all? And after apprehending a notorious serial killer during his internship, becoming known as that crazy kid who broke his limbs with his quirk, it wasn't as if he had a name or anything. The limelight wouldn't even go away during normal school days. In short success, he had been both nearly expelled and assaulted during Mr. Aizawa's quirk assessment test. As his assaulter, a certain blonde boy, took their teacher's half-hearted attempt of reprimanding him as a green light to proceed with his ill treatment of him. That day, after collecting their syllabi, at the end of the day, Izuku had been cornered outside of UA Gate as he waited for Ida and Uraraka. Bakugo had roughly shoved him against the wall, gripping his tie with one hand while popping explosions near his face with the other. Since you choose not to fucking listen to me about not applying to UA, you better not try and get ahead of me, Deku, he snarled. You already fucking cheated your way in here with your bullshit quirk, and you're not going to fucking cheat your grades. If you put a toe out of line, I'll fucking kill you. I said I would do during that quirks test. And just like he'd been doing for the past 10 years, Izuku listened. Sure, it took him fudging several quizzes and tests, and maybe it included getting several questions wrong during lectures, but he thought he was doing well enough to stay off Bakugo's radar, at least in that regard. Izuku was ranked 4th overall, with Bakugo set at 3rd. Of course, that wasn't enough for his acquaintance, but it kept his attention off Izuku for the moment. That is until a fateful Wednesday morning during math class. Looking back on it, Izuku blamed it on the fact that it was 8 in the morning and he still wasn't fully awake from yesterday's training session. The dreary weather outside wasn't helping any. Normally, the anxiety of just being in class was enough to wake him up better than any caffeinated drink would. Class was an exercise in survival where the objective was to not give the teachers any reason to pay attention to him. It was a game he was normally unrivaled at until the fateful first period math class. Mr. Ectoplasm had them evaluate a definite integral written on the blackboard, and that was all well and good, except for one thing. There was a typo that wouldn't stop nagging at the green-haired boy. The second bracket shouldn't have had a minus. It should have had a plus. Did Mr. Ectoplasm mean to write the equation like this? Was it an honest mistake? Was this a test for their observation skills? Did he speak up about it? No. He wouldn't dare correct a teacher, especially in front of everyone. Alder had beaten that lesson into him, sometimes literally. You think you're smarter than me? Seventh grade math teacher had hissed at in the middle of a lecture, having roughly pulled him out of his seat and shook him like a can of spray paint, his fingers digging painfully into his upper arms. You think I'm so incapable of teaching that I can't write the correct geometry proof of a proof on a blackboard. Why do you have to be such a goddamn problem to your students? His ninth grade English teacher had shouted, roughly shoving him to the ground with the hand yanking on his hair. The hallway was empty, but that didn't mean he avoided landing face first, pain and blood blossoming from his nose. By seeing that you cheated on this exam, I'll encourage them to do the same. It will encourage them to do the same. How will they get into good high schools if you keep acting up, Midori? Said grade science teacher had said in a syrupy sweet, I'm not mad, just disappointed voice that he quickly grew to dread more than the yelling. Do we need to have yet another detention for refusing to pay attention during lectures? Why are you getting such easy questions wrong? Midoriya, is everything alright? Izuku was shaken out of his memories to find his 10th grade math teacher staring right at him. For that matter, so were his other classmates, aside from Bakugo, who was giving him a glare that screamed, Don't you dare speak up. Everyone else looked worried. His throat dry. All he could do was hurriedly nod his head, staring down at his blank notebook page as his face heated up to an impressive fire engine red color. Midori, do you need to visit Recovery Girl? Mr. Ectoplasm asked, concern lacking his voice. He shook his head, pencil flying across paper as he copied the equation down. No, I'm fine. I'm sorry for interrupting class. Please bye. Please leave me alone. Very well, his teacher said slow. Very well, his teacher said slow, clearly not believing him. Does anyone have an answer for this integral? Zuko did. He not only had the answer, he had the correct problem written down in front of him. He wasn't going to say anything about it, though. No, none of the money in Mustafa General Bank would make him speak up in class. No, he was just going to stay back, keep quiet, and find a way to shut off the perpetual spotlight shining on him. Again, this is a fanfic written by Water in a Bottle. The fanfic is An Attempt to Fly Under the Radar. Read to you by A. Elf for You. Some reader's notes. I'm sorry if I butchered some words, but this is my first video and English is not my first language. But thank you for watching.